Over the years as a divorce attorney, I have come to the conclusion that the truth is stranger than fiction. I've seen parents make a lot of bad mistakes when it comes to their children and their parenting time. In this video, I'm going to go over 7 critical mistakes that I've seen parents make and how you should avoid them in your situation. Now, the first mistake I've seen parents make is they refuse to pay child support or some other expenses because they don't think things are fair or working out in their situation. This is a really bad mistake because child support is court ordered. The other expenses are court ordered. You don't get to decide after the fact what you think is fair or what you don't think is fair. There's actually a place for that. You can go back to the court and you can ask for relief, but taking things into your own hands is one of the worst things that you can do. You see, child support is considered a judgment, and every month that you don't pay it, bad things can happen. It can lead to your license being suspended. It can lead to a lot of things going wrong. And I've seen too many people make mistakes by trying to withhold money, thinking that they're doing something right. Think of money as something separate and apart from your parenting time. It's really, really important that you do that because they have nothing to do with one another. There are remedies and things available to you, but don't try and do any self-help here. Now that takes us to the second issue that I've seen. It's kind of the opposite, and that's when people try and withhold parenting time. You see, what they think is, maybe I didn't get my money, or the other parent's not doing what I think they should be doing, and now they start withholding parenting time from the other side. That's not the remedy here. You should take the person back to court if they're not paying what they're supposed to pay. Now, I will say this, if you believe that your child is in danger by going to the other parent, that might be a reason to withhold parenting time. But you shouldn't simply withhold parenting time and not go back to court. In other words, if you think there's something so dangerous or bad, you need to get into court and ask for relief. Courts don't like it when parents just simply withhold parenting time and then later say, well, I didn't feel like doing it. It's not a good thing, and you're exposing yourself to problems that you don't want to deal with. All right, the next thing that I see people do is they forget about their kids' emotional needs. The reality is you are breaking up with the other parent. Your kids are not. Now, in some situations, there may be some drastic issues and things going on, maybe physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the parents that simply don't recognize that their kids are being affected by this. It's important that you get a check of your kids' emotions and recognize they are not divorcing or breaking up with the other parent. They are still going to have a relationship with the other parent, and it's important that you keep that in mind. Now, the next thing that I see parents do is they make some pretty harmful and drastic parenting decisions. Now, this is especially important to keep in mind when you have 2 different types of parents going through a divorce. You may have one that's more of a disciplinarian and one that's more easygoing. This is particularly a problem and something you need to check. See, what you don't want to do is be overly disciplining a child, especially when you're going through a court procedure. Now, let me step back and say that corporal punishment is legal in the state of Illinois. But when you're going through a divorce and you're going through things like that, do you want to really be explaining your actions to everybody? You need to be thinking these things through. When you have punishments for your children, make sure that they are proportionate to the crime, so to say. If you're unsure, it's important to talk to your attorney about it. Make sure that you're getting some honest feedback from somebody in your corner so that they can help guide you through this. But it's really important not to make overly drastic parenting decisions during this process, especially when you're under a microscope. Now, this next issue might be one of the more important issues that we address here. It's not spending enough time with your children. You see, your kids are going through a transition, and they need to know that you're going to be there when you say you're going to be there. Unfortunately, I see parents argue for parenting time that they know they can't exercise. For example, I see people asking for weekends or parenting time during the week when they are not going to be available and they're going to need grandma or a sitter or somebody else to watch the children. Your kids know when you're not there, and you need to be thinking about their emotional needs as you go through this. When you say you're going to be there, be there. As a parent myself, I can promise you, you're never going to regret spending time with your children. But I've seen so many parents regret not spending time with their children. It's really important that you make the right decision for you and your kids. The next mistake I see people make is their behavior around their ex or in court. I know you're going through a rough time, and you may be looking at your ex as the cause of some of the pain and distress you're going through. The reality is there are going to be things that trigger you, whether it be in court, outside of court, but it's not a matter of if something's going to happen, if something's going to trigger you, it's a matter of when. And it's really important that you have coping mechanisms in place so that you can deal with those things when they come up. If you can't do this on your own, then you do need to seek professional help so that you can gather those strengths, practice those routines, and be ready so when they happen, you're ready to respond properly. All right, the last thing we want to talk about in this video is putting your kids in the middle. Now, you've heard about this before, and I assure you that you're probably thinking you don't do this, but you might be doing this more than you realize. You see, sometimes parents use their kids in ways that they don't think are a big deal, but they might be. And the only way to know is to really see how it's impacting your children. Your children are not messengers between the two of you guys. Don't tell your kids to tell your ex about anything, quite frankly. You guys should be able to communicate in some way, whether it's through text, email, or parenting apps designed for high conflict cases. That should be your communication and not your children. Your children should be sharing positive things both ways, and that's pretty much it. They shouldn't be delivering messages or mail or child support or any other support payments of any kind. Don't use your kids as courier services. Figure it out another way. With all the technology out there today, there's no reason to send money back and forth between each other through your kids. Use any sort of the online platforms available. You can use the state disbursement unit, you can use the clerks, but figure out a way not to use your children. Let them be kids and you guys be the parents. All right, if you made it this far in the video, you either are experiencing some of these issues or you anticipate some of these issues. So if you have a parenting plan in place that needs modification, or you need to create a parenting plan and you want help with these issues, reach out to my office. We'd be happy to help you.